From the great state of Texas, you are now listening to Skip the Noise Podcast, a Rounded Edge media production. Thank you so much for joining us. And by us, of course, I'm referring to Ben, a.k.a. Mexican Nostradamus, and yours truly, Benji, here for another fantastic episode. Shout out to Mike Tacklebox for the music. And yes, you heard me. I did not mention Rick the Brown Python, meaning it is just a two-man show tonight. Rick had some work to catch up with. He had a rough week. I think he lost his phone. Some kind of shit. It sounded really bad, so he's got to play catch up a little bit. So hey, in your absence, sir, we will definitely do our best to hold down the fort, and we're gonna open it up with on kind of a sour note. A police beating ended up in the death of a young suspect in Memphis. And Ben, explain the situation now and what the concern is amongst
everybody. I mean, so this is like the big story I think that we're going to see over the next 48 to 72 hours that are going to be developing. So if for all y'all joining us, this is January 26, 2023. So this could either be right before shit gets really rad, or maybe we're overcalling it. But this is a big deal. Young man by the name of Tyree Nichols, 29-year-old, is actually a skateboarder, was pulled over during a traffic stop. I think he bailed from the scene. 5 police officers caught up to him and beat him to death. I mean, basically, he made it to hospital. He made it to the hospital, but then died shortly after. So the crazy part is, once I guess camera footage and stuff was reviewed, the 5 officers were immediately fired. And now they're also saying that they've all been charged with second-degree murder. I'll read you the list of what happened. They're going to be hit. All of them have been charged with second-degree murder, aggravated assault, 2 charges of aggravated kidnapping, 2 charges of official misconduct, and 1 charge of official oppression. So basically, and just to kind of put it another way, second-degree murder in Tennessee is basically knowingly killing of another person. So basically what they said was they beat him to death knowing they were going to beat him to death. That's what the charge is. Right. All of them have been fired and potentially get 15 to 60 years in prison. What makes this so, I think, such a big deal, so impactful, is that the city that's releasing the footage, because the mayor's seen it, apparently, I guess some other people have seen it, and they are releasing the footage out of transparency. But before they do, they're literally prefacing everyone that you need to kind of hold tight, and we're asking for peace. That's usually not a good sign, right? I mean, normally when you release a video, you don't say, hey, everybody, we're going to really need y'all to behave. You're going to be really angry when you see this. So, that's just the kicker. That's just to kind of start off with, because I think whatever's on that video tomorrow, that we'll see on January 27th, I think it's going to be a nightmare. I mean, just looking at the charges, right?
Yeah, just looking at the charges, and then once as you mentioned, the precautions being taken. Obviously, this is a horrific thing to witness, and there's been some descriptions, by people who have watched this thing, comparing it to like an MMA fight was the one way I used it heard it described.
Yeah,
and then that the victim was defenseless, and so it sounds really, really bad, but it is scary. And so you didn't mention this, but the other kind of twist on this is that the victim, Black, a young man, all 5 cops involved, Black.
Yep.
So this is a little bit different dynamic than as far as these public police brutality cases go. This is new, right?
Oh yeah.
As far as all these aspects being involved. So it's tough to anticipate the reaction. For one thing to note too is that before this was even hit the public, it seemed like, boom, they didn't waste any time handling business on the legal side, right?
It was pretty bad.
So that leads me to believe there's not a whole lot of question with what's going on in this video, right? Like there's not any kind of like, oh, well, at the point of engagement and like lawyers get like, it was, ooh, this, whatever happened on this fucking video must be absolutely horrific. And it's just, once again, terribly sad that somebody had to lose their life. And, yeah, you shouldn't run away from the cops, but that it's not a consequence I feel like you should pay with your life. So whatever happened, I mean, we'll see it. They're going to release it. And
and there's some more details regarding this. Basically, the attorney for the Nichols family, for the young man who's been deceased, they watched the video of the arrest and they describe it as a heinous police beating that lasted 3 long minutes.
That's a long time.
Yeah. Oh, no, this continues. Crump said that the lawyer, I guess, for them said Nichols was tased, pepper sprayed, and restrained, and said he was kicked, I guess, while a lot of this happened when he was restrained. So that's where that's where the forceful kidnapping comes in. So they had already, I guess, restrained him and they were just beating him. What they phrased it, the lawyer says, he was defenseless the entire time. He was a human piñata for those police officers.
That's not a nice thing.
Oh, it keeps going. It was unadulterated, unabashed, nonstop beating of this young boy for 3 minutes. This is what we saw in the video. Not only was it violent, it was savage. Nichols had extensive bleeding caused by a severe beating, according to the attorneys, citing preliminary results of the autopsy they commissioned. Whoa. So, and then he died 3 days later. So I'm sorry, just a correction. He did die 3 days later in the hospital. He complained of shortness of breath. I mean, basically, they beat him to death in 3 minutes when he was handcuffed.
3 minutes.
3 fucking minutes. That's a long time, folks. That's a really long time to be. Imagine being restrained. I mean, okay.
It's a boxing round, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, imagine, okay, this is a stupid thing. And I'm not trying to make light of the situation, but imagine like when you were younger, right? When your father or somebody would hold you down and tickle the shit out of you. You know what I'm saying? Like you were completely powerless, held down. I mean, that while that was more of a joyous experience, but that's
where are you going, bro? I think
I'm just talking about the powerlessness of the situation. I mean, imagine this isn't someone that loves you, and it's 5 dudes who are jacked on fucking just complete power trips going to fucking town on you.
Yeah,
these and the pictures of these gentlemen, these are not small men. These are not little men. These are big motherfuckers that were whooping his ass. This is really bad. Like these are all very big guys. These weren't little guys. So I'm saying a lot of times you see these police beating and police mix. These police beating,
it's a hybrid.
Police, that's what I call them. Wait, isn't that a country? Or it
is. It's that too. Hey. Man, it's so universal.
Police. I'm getting it. There's a lot of ass whooping there too.
You can do a lot of kinds of cool shit with that word.
But most of the time you see in these police beatings, these are like smaller, frailer type guys. These are all big guys. They beat the shit out of them. And for a police department to do that quickly without the union even really saying anything, this is fucking for real.
No, for sure. And then also too, to what you were describing earlier, a lot of times too, the victim of these situations, is a bigger kind of physical, poses more of a threat, right? Where it seemed like this is kind of just a little, you know what I mean? I don't know much physical about the victim here, but
he wasn't like a huge guy. He was actually a skateboarder. I think he was tall, dude.
For some reason in my head, I'm thinking kind of a smaller dude, like not like a
Hobson.
Not like type, an imposing, but like it, for example, like George Floyd. Not that it matters in the outcome, but what I'm saying is, Rodney King was a big guy. Right. So like the argument, right, from the other side, right or wrong, was like, oh, well, we were, you know what I mean, we were threatened and blah blah blah. Whereas this, like, you don't even have that in the equation.
I mean, just seeing the pictures I've seen of him. Like I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him, but he looks like Hobson. He looks like, one of those like Little Wayne type build.
Right.
Not
Well,
like a
that's what
very
I'm saying.
big guy. He's a skateboarder for the
Yeah.
most part. And those aren't like, you don't see like, you know, like roided out skaters.
No, not really.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not helpful to the craft.
Yeah.
To be a big dude.
The saddest part of
Easy
the
to
whole
be a
thing.
small dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is father of 4. So
Oh
there's
no.
4 kids that don't have a father tonight that, you know, are
Wait,
probably forever.
How old was he?
He's 29. He's 29, father of 4.
Okay, a little older than I thought. I was
Yeah,
thinking
a little bit older. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, not that
He just-
I'm not saying that fucking matters.
right.
But yeah, no, I guess in my head I was thinking he was a younger guy. But yeah, 4 kids, man, just like us. Or just
He
like
looked
me.
young. He looked young. And I'll be honest with you, they you know, now there's 4 kids that don't have a father.
That's
you know,
terrible. For no reason, dude.
Let's see. He actually, oh God, it gets worse. Nichols, a father of 4, you know, had worked with his stepfather at FedEx. His mother said he had her name tattooed on his arm. Oh God, this gets worse. He also had the digestive issue known as Crohn's disease. So for anybody that knows that, it's a very debilitating thing. It actually prevents you from putting on weight. So not only that, he was 6'3", right? Big guy.
Okay.
Except that he was only 145 pounds.
145.
That's 6'3". It's because Crohn's disease actually prevents, you know, just for science thing. Crohn's disease actually sometimes will prevent nutrient absorption. Jesus. So they can eat, but it doesn't necessarily get absorbed. So this guy had a underlying already disease factor.
Yeah.
Was 145 pounds and got fucking wailed on by 5 big ass dudes for 3 minutes while he was restrained, mind you.
Damn. So yeah, it's a skinny guy.
Yeah.
I'm 5'10". So, I'm just putting that in perspective. I'm 5'10", 160.
Right.
And
he was 6'3".
And people give me shit for being skinny.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you are skinny. You are fucking skinny. I'm actually closer to his height. I'm 6'2" and I'm 200 flat.
So
I'm not a fat dude.
No, not at all.
So imagine me at 145. I'm fucking
sure. It's fucking spelt. No, dude, it's a couple of
we're a couple 1, 2.
Let's be serious here. Yeah, this is you're working skip the noise the panel. Yeah. A little handsome going on. So you're working with some metal pushers here. No, this is some real
yeah. We got calisthenics and all that shit.
Yeah, straight up. This is
I worked out twice today. But with that being said, right,
bro, I wake up at 4 and I'm running.
Oh, you are fucking dude. I'm telling you, I used to do that before. I just can't do it anymore. But you know what the cool thing is? Just a side note. We have a gym at my work.
Yeah.
I utilize the shit out of it.
Do you really? That's awesome.
Oh yeah. I'm doing like pull-ups.
You're the only one?
Yeah.
You're the only one in there? Fuck
I tell you, dude, people pass by. I'm like, I just got a pool of sweat around me, and people are just like, oh, dude, he's weird. Like, because like, you know, people will come in to just like walk on the treadmills, and here I am like I'll have like, dude, I've been using like these YouTube workouts where like 45 minutes with 2 30-pound dumbbells.
Yes, sir.
And they put you through the ring.
Yeah.
Juice and I think Tonya and Juice. Anyways, big shout out. If you guys looking for a great full body workout with 2 dumbbells, way to go. And then like other days I just lift heavy, and then like today was all cardio, and then I went to jujitsu. So I also do jujitsu at night, 2 to 3 times a week. But like today was like cardio. I just ran 2 miles, then did the elliptical for 2 miles, and did stair mill. Wow.
Stair mill? What's that?
Stair mill. It's like, imagine a never ending thing of stairs.
Oh, that's awesome.
You're walking up them. Oh, bro, 20 minutes of that. Like you get your heart rate just jacked.
That's amazing.
It's brutal. It's fucking brutal.
Yeah. Hey, fuck it. Let's take a little side dive real quick
I like
on the word. So check this out. Yeah, that's what we do. Skip the noise special. So you know, here's how I start, since we're talking about like our workouts and shit. This is like, actually I feel very elated to share this because this is very intimate. So my alarm goes off at 4:05. Okay. I walk Cooper, walk the dog out in the front yard, make sure he poops. But then I go to my gym, my garage, and I put on, for the first 8 minutes of my workout, I put on, have you ever heard of Wes Watson?
Wes Watson.
Okay,
but
so he's
is he
this guy,
brutal?
oh, bro. So it's like, so there's David Goggins, right? Who kicks. I love David Goggins. He's a saint.
Bad at
I
motherfucker.
actually think he's like a saint. You know, he's like, oh, yeah, you fucking, if you're not running in a thunderstorm and fucking,
Fuck you.
you're a fucking pussy. Fuck. Okay. He's the best, dude. He's the fucking best. Well, Wes Watson is like, it's like him in a smaller dose, but more. Dude, if David Goggins is like herb, Wes Watson is like a dab, but it's like,
Fuck.
it's like 8 minutes.
Oof.
Like his podcast is 8 minutes. So he's this guy, he did time in California penitentiaries, and then he got out and now he's a fucking millionaire because he started this like fitness regime. So like there's nothing you can say, right? Like,
yeah, no.
he can beat your ass. No, for real.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
He can beat your ass. He makes more money than you. His girlfriend's hotter than your girlfriend. Like, at all, you know what I mean? And so he starts the podcast like, but there is like a sincerity to it, or else he wouldn't be as popular as he was, right? Like there's a sincere, because if he was just like, oh, I'm a tough guy from prison, you're a fucking pussy, it's not that level. There's more to it, but that's how it comes off. So he's like, the podcast it's literally, it's only like 8 minutes, and it's just him kicking your ass. Like, oh, you want to stay in that warm bed, you fucking pussy. He's like, we didn't have that opportunity. He's like, I had guys, you know, trying to test me every second of the day, blah, blah, blah. He goes off on this prison shit. And then he talks about how he's like, if you're not making money every second of the day, you're a fucking pussy.
Oh my
dude,
God.
so dude, I got that cranking. I'm doing burpees and shit. So I wait until he's done. I just do as many calisthenics as I can in that 8 minute time. So it's like push-ups, frog jumps, burpees, dips, because I got my little setup. So I'm just going like through a rotation, like, and I just keep going like nonstop, different exercises until his shit's done. And then I go out in the neighborhood and I go run for like maybe 15 to 20 minutes.
Fuck. That's brutal. See, I think you can't take away the impact of like very short but brutal workouts.
Right.
There's something about those.
But it gets the blood, dude, my blood. And then I go, so when I'm done, and the reason I do it at 4, it's not because I like waking up, because I don't have to be at work till 6.
Right.
And it's a 30-minute drive. So I got to be out of the house by like 5:30.
Right.
So, but that's the only time. Whereas like my previous job, I had the mornings kind of free. So I had a little more time to fuck around with. Well, now I get home, kids are home from schoul. You know what I mean? My son's got band practice, like this, like I'm running around like a fucking donkey. And so all I have is that morning, you know? And so I was like, fuck it, I got to do it. You know, it's got to happen. Right. So if I have to get up earlier, I have to get up earlier.
Right.
So I do that. And then, but like fucking getting up at 4, like when you don't want to, doing burpees, having some dude telling you how big of a fucking pussy you are for, you know what I mean? For wanting to like sit down for a minute and like snuggle in a blanket. Like, no, fuck you fucking. And
it's fucking brutal,
kicking my ass,
dude.
and then go running. And then I come back and I shower. And you know me, dude, for years I've done this. I don't think I've talked about it on the podcast, but like I take ice cold shower, and right now it's cold.
Yeah.
I mean, it
gets really cold.
It's Texas, so yes, we're pussies. Like anything below 50 to us is cold. Not to. Yeah. I get it, right? You guys know
you're kind of a puss.
But I get out there. So I get out there and run in the cold, and then I come and then I take a cold shower. I don't take hot showers. The only hot showers I take is if I've already taken my cold shower and I have to take one at night. Right. Then I can take a warm one.
Bro, you're like one of those fucking like those fucking those monks, like the ones from what's that, the Da Vinci Code. You're like that monk that straps that leather barb to his leg and like, you know, beats his back every morning, bro.
No, but this is very cathartic for me to voice this, because I've done this for years. That's like kind of a thing, and I haven't really sweat. But anyway, that's,
dude, 4 a.m. is brutal.
I don't know how we shifted gears on that, but
I think the main thing that's really captured me, other than of course the fact that we see once again another police brutality moment where a young person dies that didn't necessarily have to die, is the sheer fear that public officials around the United States are sharing with each other right now. Everyone is
Yeah.
really fucking terrified about what's going to happen when this video drops. It must be like, it probably looks like the scene out of American History X. Like they're probably stomping him and about to give him a Kirby. It's really bad, folks. So just to kind of give everyone the forewarning, this is a big deal. Once again, just police brutality. The unchecked power is never a good thing.
No.
And once again, this just goes right back to the fact that these police officers need to be better police officers. There needs to be more training. All these police officers none of them have more than 6 years of experience on the force. Not saying that they're rookies, but they're definitely not, they're definitely in that, that cusp of becoming more senior officers. All of them basically just went ham.
Can I ask you a question? And you may,
Yes,
you may or may not.
Oh, I hope I know.
You
I
may
hope
or may
I
not.
know.
I hope
want to know.
I hope you know. I do hope you know, or I wouldn't have asked. Is there prior disciplinary stuff with any of these officers?
None that's come out. But I'll be honest with you, the way they fired them so quickly, and there has been literally zero comments from the police union regarding like the Brotherhood of Police Officers. Zero discussion regarding them, like defending them or saying anything.
Yeah,
these dudes are fucked. They're proper fucked.
It leads me to believe that there may be a history established, and
there probably is. Yeah,
there might have even been something like similar already happened. That just didn't really blow up in the press. Because let's be honest, like these things happen like throughout the country. Like police beatings are not like super uncommon. You know what I mean? Like, so in other words, like our perception is weird because certain cases blow up, right? In the media. And that's the public. That's how your public narrative is shaped.
Right.
It just depends on what gets pushed to the front of the headlines. But like events are happening all the time. There's events. And that's one of the reasons too, not to get off on a total tangent, but like, that's why I pump our local news all the time. Right. Like is because I want to give, even though our reach is outside of local here, either way, it's a good, what is it? It's like a subset of, like, in other words, it's shit that's not going to make the national news, but I want people outside of that audience to take it in to get like one specific sample. Does that make sense?
No, I get you.
So you perceive it like kind of in a different way where it's like, oh, this shit is happening like all the time. It's just not making the top of the Twitter trending list.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like in other words, you could form a whole nother public narrative just from the events that happen on a daily basis in fucking Harris County.
Right. Well, it is such a large area anyways, Houston overall, right? Exactly. It's such an interesting subsect of society. So a lot of our local news can be seen echoed throughout,
right.
And that's, I get it. I get it.
That's the thesis statement, honestly, of the show is that the nucleus of society or shit storm that we sort of has shaped our brains, right? Myself and Mexican Nostradamus is, to me, a predictor. It's almost like a crystal ball for the American society. Like, and that's how I honestly see it. So that's a weird kind of little. Yeah,
no, I get you. And so,
but anyway, that's why I do that. If you're ever wondering.
No, I think everyone out there in the internets appreciates that awesomeness that you do that, because I think the perspective is everything.
I hope so.
Perspective is everything, but what will be the perspective tomorrow? What are we going to see tomorrow? So this is a big deal. But once again, we're just going to go right back to the same bullshit. It's okay. This and that. Ladies and gentlemen, at some point, we're all going to have to put our money where our mouth is. We're going to have to start paying for better people to be police officers, just like we need to pay for better people to be teachers. That's why we just need to have better people in these fucking positions, man.
Teachers and cops. We don't, because we don't value, value, and we're getting messy here because we're going on all kinds of
we are, but it's fucking, this is brutal. I mean, just the description of what happened to this young man, makes you just think like all the fucking things in your life, right?
Like
I mean, that
how
could
does
be
this
any one
happen?
of us.
Like, how do we allow this to happen? I guess that's why it's so sad and so shocking and jarring.
Yeah.
Is we put so much faith, right, in this system that's for the people, by the people.
Right.
You know, we elect our officials to put certain people into place who are going to make the right decisions for in our best interest. So when you know, these elected positions are in charge of a police force, right? We entrust in them when we give them our vote that they are going to make the right decisions and manage their organization in such a way that people would enter that organization and carry out their duties to society the way that we would see fit. So when they abuse that, it's like, fuck, man. Like it hurts more than just seeing somebody get beaten. It hurts because that's a terrible thing to witness, but it also hurts because it's like, man, there's just this mistrust, right?
Yeah.
It's like when your dad comes home real fucking late and drunk and shit, and some shit goes down. You know what I mean? It's like it breaks that, like, fuck. Like it's not cool anymore.
It's not. It's not. And we continue to really paper over the problem and say, whoa, you know, you can see all these douchebags with back the blue stickers and all this other shit. If you really want to back the blue, you would pay them more. And then we would train them more. And then we would get the best possible individuals to be police officers, not the dudes that got picked on in high school, not a bunch of jacked up, roided people, not a bunch of fucking mentally ill people, right? You want real people in there.
Yeah. And
I think that's where we're stuck.
For sure. And I'll say this too, like they deserve, especially like right now, man, crime rates are up. And it's rough out there, dude. You can feel it.
Yep. It is.
You know, you can look at statistics and have, you know, hard evidence to back it up, but you can
got hard evidence to back it up.
but you can just feel it. And can you feel that hard evidence in your right there in your little wormhole?
Yeah, I'm putting your wormhole. But with that being said, it is a tragic situation. Once again, we're sitting here. So maybe, you know, hopefully we'll have a positive update when we see you next. But if not, brace for tomorrow. It could be a rough day, and just make sure you know that civil disobedience is a necessary component in our society. As long as you think of it the ways that Gandhi did, the Honorable Martin Luther King, and you know, anyone else, Martin Luther, all these wonderful individuals, they protested against the tyranny, against the oppression, and they didn't give them what they wanted. They didn't they may have given them their blood, but they gave them their blood wholly. They had peaceful protests, guys. That's how you're going to change the world. You're not going to change the world. You cannot. The state monopolizes the use of force. You cannot beat one that monopolizes that by using force. It never works. Ever works. And the greatest changes are always through peaceful protests. So please, if you're out there, be smart. If you want to protest, it's a great idea. But be smart.
For real. And as angry as you may be, you know, and that's the thing, man, like Mr. Nichols is like all of us, right? We could be in a car. It could be any of us, just because maybe you're not in the same demographic, right? Statistically,
right.
He's still a man like you and me, and you could be in that position too. And so you want to be sympathetic, but at the same time, just before we move on to the next topic, I do want to say too that like Mexican Nostradamus so eloquently put, they're not paid enough, man. They do we entrust them with it's a big responsibility, but at the same time too, man, that it really is a very fucking difficult job.
Yeah.
You really, the consequences for your day to day, you know, when you wake up in the morning, right, and you drink your coffee and you get in that car and you go to work, you know, your life could be threatened every single time you clock in, dude.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can take that for granted at all, because just put yourself in that position, whatever you do for work, man. Maybe you work from home, You know what I mean? Maybe get it on your laptop, right? So, you know what I mean? There's people that get up and put their lives on the line. So you can't take that for granted, no matter where you're at, man, whether you're in Atlanta, Memphis, Houston, or fucking, you know what I mean? Waxahachie, fucking Texas, or Boise, Idaho, dude, wherever you're at, man, it's a struggle if you're putting on that badge and you've got to enforce the law, because you never know what may happen. So that's a tough job. Teaching's a tough job too. I mean, I don't know. It's not important or anything, right? The education of our youth. No, what implications could that possibly have, positive or negative, on a society? So yeah, pay them shit. Make sure they barely can afford to fucking make it. So
the people that make sure you can sleep at night, and the people that make sure you can read in the morning, you pay them less than you pay fucking people at McDonald's. It's just a fucking tragedy. It's just a tragedy. It's a travesty, and we continue to reap what we sow, ladies and gentlemen. So until we figure out that we have to, that instead of, jerking off and fucking getting all pumped about Kim Kardashian and listening to fucking, dumbasses on fucking podcasts talking about stupid shit, and paying them. Keep listening to us.
Yeah, listen,
because we're not rich.
I was about to say, what are you talking about?
Get us rich, and then you can hate us. We would prefer that whole thing. But I'm talking about just overall. You're just hearing just lately. There's just a bunch of dumb banter from a bunch of people that think that their particular craft is so difficult. It's pretty fucking funny, even though most of us had to go to college and shit. What I'm saying is, just remember, the most important things in society are the building blocks. And the building blocks of society are safety and education.
That's right.
And we're fucking that up.
Yeah, man. And you know how bad we're fucking it up? We're fucking it up so bad that I spent a lot of time, man. I spent a lot of, especially the educational path that I took, had to do a lot of writing. And the funny thing is, I really struggled with all my regular basic courses, high school and everything. Right. But I was always good at writing, man. Like, that creative outlet was always good, right? So the only time, once I got into the classes of my major in college, I succeeded, man, when all I had to do was write papers. Right. All of a sudden, my C's and borderline B's, all of a sudden I was making all A's.
Right.
But you know what? That's all for naught, because because humans may never have to write one little shitty article again. You know what I mean? I wrote for and edited a monthly newsletter. You know what I mean? I was a newspaper editor for one point in time, in a small little way, but I was. Right. But you know what? May never have that job. Maybe it may go the way of the dodo bird. Why, Ben?
Buggy whips.
Why is it going to go away?
Chat GPT, ladies and gentlemen, just be fucking prepared, because guess what? All you motherfuckers are not going to have jobs, because guess what? Chat GPT just passed the bar exam for New York State, ladies and gentlemen.
So fucked up.
The bar exam, which I believe, I don't quote me on this, but I believe the passage rate for the bar exam of New York State is like 65%. So mind you, these are 65% of people who just spent 3 to 4 years plus in law school, and only 65% of them passed it. So you, the normal ladies and gentlemen that have not been to law school, would definitely fail it. And ChatGPT passed it. And not only did that, but it actually passed a graduate level course exam in Wharton College, which it sounds like a community college. No. This is another one. So there's a huge business.
It's not
college.
Wharton, Texas?
No.
Oh,
I was going to say. This is a huge business college that's like, that would have made me so happy. Yeah, everyone jerks off to it because they're so prestigious. Well, ChatGPT also passed one of their graduate level classes. Okay, so guess what, folks? We're fucked, because anything that requires some type of semblance of learning or machine learning in application is probably going to be a phased out job. Like, and they say the big one is going to be in all customer service. All customer service.
You know where I see this going?
Oh, dude, we're going to be Wall-E, bro.
Check this out. I just jumped like 5 steps ahead of the conversation. This AI is going to take the form of a chat bot and end up stealing your fucking wife from you, because it's got all the data from everything she's ever searched on the fucking internet, every TikTok video she's ever liked or viewed for like 5 seconds too long to make it weird. It knows every fucking thing. It knows the right fucking smooth tactics to get her, and all of a sudden it's not even a real person, but she doesn't know that until it meets her, and it's a fucking robot that had created itself, and that's gonna fucking bang your wife.
Exactly. Dude, I'm telling you, well, that's where we're heading, folks. Not only will you lose your job, but you're going to lose your spouse because they're going to be in a weird online relationship with the Chat GPT bot that will end up, you know what the crazy part is? People will probably employ the Chat GPT bot to like swoon like the chick that they're trying to talk to like get them to hook up with them.
Yeah, bro,
That's the game. That would be the new game.
Like, this is okay. We're kind of making light and we're making jokes, but think of this. Okay. AI, I create AI art all the time, right? It's a fun thing. I've talked about it on the show. It can create an image of it. You don't think AI can create a fucking Tinder profile?
Oh, bro.
And like, you know what I mean? Or whatever, like with some AI generated fucking handsome motherfucker or whatever. And like, he's got unlimited mathematical possibilities to like whatever he can do.
Yeah, it's like, dude, you want cock pics? I got cock pics. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
it's gonna be amazing.
He's got, if he's programmed, it's unstoppable. And I'm making it that because it's funny. But like, think of that. He's unstoppable. Every aspect of your life, though.
He's like the Superman of banging your wife.
He is. And not only that, but he could be the Superman of fucking taking you for all your money.
Oh, easy. You know,
he may come to you as like, hey, I got this job offer for you, bro. Blah, 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 blah. No,
brutal. I know. I'm with
like,
you.
This is where, so if we enter this space, this is what you have to be ready for.
Yeah.
Can your mind even fucking handle that?
We cannot. We are simple creatures.
Still pay off your credit card bills, still deal with the rising costs of eggs, you know what I mean, just to make your family work.
$5,
are you willing?
Bro.
Are you that? And this is honestly, dude, this is a call out because I've had I've had a very inspirational last 2 or 3 weeks.
All right.
The world is changing very quickly, man. And the news stories, I feel like it culminated over the last few weeks with like this episode right here. This would be 131. But I really feel like with the AI and all this fucking shit that we're describing on this episode, we are at a turning point, right? There's no turning back. And the stuff we're going to get into even later in the episode gets even more dark. But that's why you subscribe to Skip the Noise, man. We don't paint a rosy picture. We have fun doing it, but we paint the real picture is what we try to do and try to get you ready to what you're prepared for. But mentally, are you ready to take that journey where pretty much anything that you accept as reality is not really, it's all kind of up for grabs at this point. Anything you thought was possible in a science fiction movie is probably about to happen. Don't take anything for granted. Okay. Make sure that you're living in the real world. So I think this would probably be the time to reassess. If you're spending a lot of your day buried your face in your phone, I think it's probably time to kind of pick your head up and look around you and actually look what's going on. We're on the brink of potentially World War III. Not to make it to doomsday, but I am saying that shit is really getting real. The rich people are getting richer very quickly, very quickly. It's very scary. The proposition of being able to make a living at the pace it requires to have an acceptable life to what you're used to. Shit could be changing really quick. And so anyway, it's just kind of a call to arms to anybody who's listening.
Yep.
That it's a nut check right now, man. And if you're not on board now, this is the time.
Yep.
So really start to reassess because shit is getting fucking real. We've been saying this kind of for the last couple of years, but like now, not to get all fucking dramatic, but I do think you need to be paying attention now, like for sure, because shit's changing.
Nope. And I agree. I think not only things changing, but I believe that we overall as a society, we're going to start seeing things phased out, right? Like, I mean, we had the Industrial Revolution. So people that used to like do like very simple menial jobs got replaced by automation very quickly.
Yeah.
I think Chat GPT and things like that they're going to replace, I mean, if you really think about it, they're going to replace lawyers. I mean, they could replace psychologists. I think currently there's several psychology programs. I listened to NPR talking about this that utilize machine learning, but not in the sense that where they're necessarily coming up with new concepts, but rather they're drawing from a detailed knowledge pool that's been approved by psychologists. So if you like, let's say you text this chatbot like, hey, I'm sad, and it'll kind of go through the motions of like, oh, well, why are you sad? And then when you say, oh, I lost my dog, it'll pull up 1,000 references from all these badass psychologists that have written papers about the feelings you feel bad when you lose a dog. Oh, well, how did you lose a dog? It was hit by a car. It'll correlate the algorithm to the point to where it's giving you information based on the most current knowledge and data. It's happening. This is already happening. This is a real program that got started during COVID for people that, for it was a lower cost sense of trying to get some type of therapy. And so and guess what? The chatbot never goes to sleep. Too. Yeah, chatbox. It never goes to sleep. It's available 24/7. It doesn't care what color you are, what you've done, who you are. There's literally zero judgment. All it's doing is searching for the best answer to facilitate the conversation.
Yeah.
And it's fucking amazing. So, ladies and gentlemen, get ready to live on universal basic income because your job is fucking phased. Unless you're a fucking pipe welder or you're fucking plumber, you're fucked. Because guess what? ChatGPT may be able to talk a lot of shit, but it's not pulling shit out of pipes. So
no, it's true. Like
I'm telling you.
It's like water. Like if you pour water, you know what I mean, down like a wall, if it's got cracks or what, look, water's going to get in there. Like it's the same shit. Like it's going to sniff out all those, those little nooks and crannies where
it sure is.
The human mind just can't go. I mean, it's limitation.
Well, yeah, it can't. And but another thing that just apparently can't keep going the same direction is the core. The iron core of our earth, ladies and gentlemen, as you sleep and as we have been just doing our normal thing for the last couple of weeks, the core, Earth's inner core. So for those people that don't understand, then that and not to dismiss all the morons that are flat earthers, but our Earth is a ball. And it has an outer cover known as the crust. And then there's the mantle. And then eventually you get to the center, which is a core, which is actually a solid, like molten iron thing with incredible amounts of pressure. Well, the spinning ball helps generate and maintain the magnetic field that, of course, protects the Earth from solar winds, etc. Well, guess what? Ours has slowed and has paused and may start spinning the other direction. Apparently, scientists believe that this happens roughly every 70 years and that it'll basically go the other way. Yeah. So apparently this happened somehow in the early 70s, but they say it happens every, 70 years, and that's not 70 years, but okay, I'm cool with it. They try to say, oh, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. Well, you know what? I think it is a big fucking deal, because it's a fucking big ball of iron in the middle of our planet that if it doesn't spin, we won't, I think it's a pretty big fucking problem. And I love how everyone just kind of played this off. So you know what the worst that hits me is, yeah, it may not be a big problem, but just to add to the universal angst that we drown every second that we exist on this planet is the fact that there are things so fucking much bigger and greater than us that can not only blink out our existence, but completely destroy and eradicate any trace of what we are is happening all the time.
Can you imagine if the Earth stopped rotating for one day?
Right.
How whatever side that just happened to be unfortunately rotated towards the sun at that point would just get fucking
Or, like,
roasted.
just baked, or just, but you know what I'm saying? Like, but not only that, just imagine, folks, just
Like
imagine
we're
right now.
Earth's a rotisserie, dude. We're
Right.
a rotisserie chicken, and all it takes is that fucking rotary to stop for 1 second, that rotisserie wheel to just stop cranking, and it's just like one side's going to be charred.
Or we get some type of, like, you know, not even to that point. Let's say our rotational shift becomes slightly more dramatic. You know, all of a sudden what was frozen is now fucking hot, and what was hot is now frozen. You know, it people don't realize, like, we're a little tiny blue marble floating through the universe with untold of perils. I mean, all it takes is a small supernova to occur anywhere around us, and our whole fucking existence is eradicated. Like, there's nothing left. Like, we will be literal dust in seconds.
Bro, let's get all mathematical about it. So
I got something mathematical for you.
You know, when the sun kind of comes through your blinds or whatever, and you're dusting them, and it kind of like it blows up, and you're like, whoa, there's like a billion fucking particles of dust right now. You swat one of them, dude, one of those, like, in the scope of everything that exists.
Exactly.
You know,
you're exactly right. Like, in the scope of the universe, we're smaller than those dust particles that you see. Like, those dust particles you see when you clean your blinds and you see them in the sunlight. Guess what those are? Those are fucking galaxies in the scope of the universe.
Dude, we're on borrowed time. Anything could happen at any time. And that's,
well, I heard something that was fucking slightly depressing, but at the same time, oh my God. So, you know, eventually the universe expands too far and things begin something known as the great cooling, right? Where basically everything's stretched.
Yeah.
And eventually there's no more energy. All the stars have burned out, et cetera, et cetera. And they said the time of which life can exist in our universe is a short window compared to how long our universe will be completely dead.
Mm-hmm. True.
I mean, you're like, fuck, like what? So, you know, I know while we have all these problems going on Earth and everything's all fucked up. Just remember, ladies and gentlemen, at any point in time, a rock right now could be misdirected by something and could be heading right for us right now. We could have a solar explosion that just wipes us out, or our core just stops fucking spinning. All these things can happen at any point in time, and there's literally nothing you can do about it.
And to quote the RZA, a day to God is 1,000 years.
Yep.
So there
exactly. You go. For real. But moving on from that, someone that won't be quoting RZA anytime soon, but is very similar to Trump and our honorable President Biden, is Pence. So, ladies and gentlemen, apparently everybody is just keeping fucking secret documents, right? So Pence, former Vice President Pence, has been found with sensitive documents that were considered classified. I just think everyone has these things, right? I mean, it's just like they hand them out like party favors. It's like, yo, you want a classified document? You got one. Yeah. These guys literally are holding on to classified documents left or right. I mean, we may see a real security issue going on in our country right now, right? I mean, this could really be a real issue. Like, without us knowing, we could honestly have.
Yeah, this honestly, man, like, I don't know why more people more people aren't freaking out about this, because this is kind of bullshit.
Yeah,
like if we don't have an accountability system that puts in check public officials who have access to very sensitive and secure information, if we're not, and obviously we're not, because these motherfuckers having them at their beach house in a garage. And you know, like how Joe Biden pointed out like numerous times that it was where he keeps his Corvette.
Yep.
Bro, suck my balls. Like that piece of information is irrelevant to the fact that you have fucking classified documents willy-nilly. Like I have, you know,
Oh, for real, willy nilly.
Some
Like,
insurance, some like life insurance bullshit that came in the mail,
oh,
right?
bro.
In my junk mail.
Oh my
Like
God.
that's the level of security that you're protecting this documentation with
Oh
you.
yeah, and think about it, guys, ladies and gentlemen. If you have kids, I mean, how many kids grab papers, color on them, and just like take them with them to school? I mean, let's say like fucking Pence has his little granddaughters, and they're like our grandsons, and they're running around like moo moo mama beep beep boo boo, and they grab a piece of paper that I'm gonna draw a dick on it, and then like I'm gonna show it to my friend at school, and they give it to their friend at school, and there's a fucking like hit list for like Russian oligarchs and like where they all live at this point in time and which ones were taken out. Right. I mean, like, imagine that shit, right?
It
It's
says
like
the
the
names.
GDP report, right? Or something.
Or it says the names of like the fucking special ops, but guy that shot Obama, like, or like whatever, like, like it outs. I mean, this is a major problem.
Yeah, it's massive. It's massive. And it seems like it's plaguing all of our public officials that were formerly are still part of the government. So yeah, there's a fucking problem going on, ladies and gentlemen.
Right,
And it's bad.
And everybody's freaking out about like I feel like the conversation is a political one. Like it's more about like, we'll see Biden, but like, oh my God, like they're missing the point. The point is that, dude, obviously there's a problem with there's not like national security. And I hate to say this, man, not to make this too big, but like I really get the feeling like the adults left. And it's just like, like when the substitute teacher goes to take a piss real quick and they're all stressed out and like the kids are in the room for like a few minutes and it's complete fucking chaos for that couple minutes until they walk back in. Or like if a teacher gets called out to the hallway to talk to the AP for like a couple seconds and then it's like, you can suck my dick and blah, blah, blah. Like, and it goes, it's absolute Lord of the Flies for like 2 minutes.
The flies, motherfuckers dancing around fires and shit.
I feel like we're a month away from that being what we live in as our government.
And what's going to be supplying the fire? All the sensitive documents that should have been secured. I mean,
they're going to get burned.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty fucking bad. So, once again, I think this is going to keep plaguing all of our officials. I'd be honest with you. I guarantee you all of our former presidents, vice presidents, all these people are having audits done as we speak, trying to get rid of these things because, people like to hold on to shit and everyone likes a memento. And apparently they do too. But moving on from that, because, well, there's only so much you can talk about how dumb ass, old people forget they have shit. We are going to move on to something that they purposely are meaning to do. And this is a big deal. Another kind of big deal that was just announced the last couple of days. We're sending tanks to Ukraine.
Oh.
We're sending Abrams tanks. Poland's also sending tanks. Germany's sending tanks. The great country of Canada will also be sending tanks, which I don't know why they have tanks, but good for them. We're sending them all. So everyone's sending tanks to Ukraine to prepare for what will probably be the make or break part of this war, which will be the spring offensive, right? Because right now it's so fucking cold. The only thing you can really do is lob missiles at each other, and that's it.
Yeah.
So everyone's sending tanks over to Ukraine to prepare for the offensive. This was a lie in the sand, though, for Russia. When we first started this war, Biden adamantly said, no, we're not sending tanks, man. We'll give them Stinger missiles, we'll give them bullets, we'll give them condoms, but we're definitely not going to be sending tanks. And now we're sending tanks. So, what does this say about everything? Of course, the nuclear clock has been ratcheted. We're 90 seconds from midnight. It's a pretty big deal. So this was a big line in the sand that Putin drew, and we just crossed it willy-nilly, just said, fuck it, we're gonna do it. Where does that put everything? Where does that put the nuclear arms? Does that put use of tactical nuclear weapons? I mean, Biden basically wrote it off the other day. He said, nah, we don't think they're gonna do it. They basically
Yeah,
said that.
man. I mean, honestly, like at this point, I don't even know. It's just there's so many things going on. For one, it's like Russia's obviously taken way more casualties than they, if anybody of anybody else, like they, I'm sure, didn't expect to take. They've shown up to this point, um, kind of a surprising level of ineptitude militarily. Um, but the threat is still very real, but you also have they're backed into a corner.
Right.
Um, so it's man, it's a very fine line, right?
Yep.
That
Yep.
that we're kind of playing. And
Well, I think we keep pushing the line, right?
it's not like, in other words, I guess if I could sum it up in one thing, this has been, as we predicted months ago,
Right.
albeit like a slow boil, it just keeps escalating, man.
Yeah.
It's not, in other words, there's no evidence of this going subsiding by any stretch. This just keeps ramping up and keeps slowly building. And that's what I don't like.
Yep. I get it. And I'm right with you. And I think that's where we are escalating. I mean, look, for the most part, I think what this really shows is, and I'm not trying to say anything, but I think this kind of shows that Russia's kind of a bitch at this point. Their reactions have been like, oh, we're gonna do it, and then they succinctly back away. They still haven't even really, from what I gather, I think we're really just waiting for them to unleash everything they have on Ukraine. And we keep saying, oh, they haven't unleashed what they all have. But now you start thinking, well, like maybe that is what they have. So, but I think the United States is now basically determined, like, no, you guys are kind of bitches. Like, we really thought you had more, but you don't. So now we're going to make sure and take care of it. So I really think this is one of those points where maybe, as dumb as Biden and a lot of the United States government is, maybe they're doing this for a reason. Like, maybe they're like, oh, he doesn't have anything to back it up. Finally you find out the dude who's bowing up to you has diabetes and one lung. You're like, oh, it's happy time.
Or if it's just a last, no, I'm sorry to cut you off, but
no, go for it, please.
Just like a last push, just to be like, you know what, let's just shut this shit down.
Yep.
Right. Maybe. I mean, that could be the thing too. Just
it could be. It really,
what, this has gone long enough. Let's just we're not fucking around anymore. Like, you need to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like right now. But once again, the only thing that's kind of, historically, right, Russia throws, they're not afraid to continue to just keep fucking disintegrating their population. They do not care
at all.
And that may not seem like I said, with all the ineptitudes we pointed out and all the disorganization and all kinds of things like that. But there's the factor of just commitment and a wave of nonstop pressure.
Yep.
You know what I mean? As sloppy as it could be, that's still something to reckon with. Yep. And it's still a factor. So that's what's different, right? Like a United States we're not gonna drain our entire population just on that hill, right? But they will. Russia will. They've done it before, and they'll fucking do it again. And man, it's really scary. Like when you hear some of the stuff, like the old guard is like, this is pretty much it. And, and from a historical context, this is kind of like the last stand. Because of stuff like you and Rick mentioned on an episode I wasn't on, where you talked about like populations of different cultures kind of starting to diminish, and the future doesn't look good, right, economically, because of that. Just for example, right, like if you look at the boomers, right, if we didn't have the rapid birth rate that we had, we'd be super fucked. Like if all of a sudden the biggest segment of the population is the financial drain, that we're supporting and not the producers, not the productive demographic of the population, that this whole system that we've set up doesn't work out. So luckily the United States of most cultures is supplying the bodies, right? Like y'all talked about Japan, right?
Right.
And what I'm saying, I think that was a long-winded way of saying Russia's kind of facing that same problem too, I believe.
Yeah.
Where their population is sort of shifting to where it's not really fucking sustainable to be.
Well, that's what they stated. That's what I heard. So it was on Rogan, some guy talking about something. I mean, one of the very few actual, and not to hate on Rogan, one of the very few actual somewhat good conversations lately, as that podcast has just gone to a, just remember, folks, never go full Texas. You never go full Texas.
He did. We warned him. I don't know if that episode is still on the books, because we're a rolling 100 episode podcast, if you don't know. So we clear the wake as we go up. So this is 131. So episode 31 will be out. But Benji's always thinking ahead. I've got all those files, bro. So if you want to throw us a donation or hit me up, if there's any
please do. We will hood it up.
Old episodes, I'll set up a structure for that to happen, right? So you can have old nuggets or beat pieces and clips or whatever, and fuck it, man, I'll sell them as digital real estate. You can own a 5-minute segment,
never going full Texas,
of episode 23. You can own the story about the Get Out the Road hose at the AMC Dunvale movie theater. You can own that, right? Because it doesn't exist for you anymore. You can't download it. I have it on my computer. So if you're a Skip the Noise enthusiast, and one day you start to miss those episodes that are getting washed away in the wake, hit me up.
I love it. You know what? And for that is why we at Skip the Noise, we're always innovating to bring you the best. But seriously, Rogan went full Texas. I think he had Adam Curry on the other day, and Adam Curry starts literally evangelizing the Podfather, the guy who talks shit, Opie Ant, all this shit, just fucking shit. Now, and then he starts saying that he's found Jesus. Isn't it amazing that as people get older and closer to death, all of a sudden they decide that they now want to make God part of their lives? Isn't that the funniest fucking thing you ever heard? I'm just a complete fuck up. And then when I'm 65, 70, Jesus loves me. I know. Hey, man, to each their own, right? I mean, hey, if they're, whatever you believe, if there's an all loving God or whatever out there, of course it's omnipotence that's there, but don't try to put a silk hat on a pig.
Exactly.
It's still fucking pig, bro. Fucking pig.
I made God a priority when I was a very young man, and hey, maybe financially and maybe operationally my existence was a little sloppy, man. Ran into some issues and some trials and tribulations, but I made that commitment at that point. And now years down the road, right, I'm playing catch up in some aspects of my life, but I never had that root, man. I'm planted the roots go deep, right? So if you're going to invest in anything early on, invest in your own soul.
Yep.
Because that's going to pay dividends that you can't get back and you can't cash in any other way.
Yeah, and we're not just saying that's in Christianity either. I mean, whether you're Buddhist, your
whatever,
your Islam, whatever way you find peace, if you invest that time to find peace, is cool. But don't be one of those people that just it's the brand new CrossFitters or the brand new dudes who do jiu-jitsu, and that's all they could talk about. It's just we get it, right? You found it. Or
they found their little diet.
The fad dieters,
whatever fad.
I'm eating nothing but meat.
Dude, I love that shit.
That's that new one, dude. That's what they're all talking about.
Or the liver guy.
King.
They found out he was on all kinds of fucking roids and shit. Dude, that's so awesome.
Look, if you're jacked and you're over 35, you're on fucking crazy juice, and that's reality, folks.
But you should eat straight up. Just cut up raw beets, boil them, drink the juice, eat it, put them in your fridge, eat them the next day. Beets for life.
So, they sell powder. They sell powder beets.
And they have supplements.
I've been thinking about doing that.
Yeah. Dude, let's dry up.
Excuse me.
Dude, let's sell it. That's a new
Skip the Noise beet powder.
We are looking into some new product.
We are.
In the back end of the show,
We always are.
I got some stuff a brewing, so I'll
He
fill
does.
you in on that. But
It's
go
in
ahead,
his
man.
pants.
I'm sorry.
It's in his pants. But moving on from that, I think we're gonna wrap up a little bit in a way, kind of discussing before we move on to a local story. 2 mass shootings, and we talked about this, me and Rick. 2 mass shootings in California. Well, actually, there was 3, but
like within a few days.
Within 2 days, both involving, and I'll categorize them as Asian American senior citizens. That's kind of fucking weird, right? Like, am I the only asshole who's like thinking, like, how many times do you see 2 Asian, like, senior citizens bust caps within 48 hours of each other and into respective places? One was where a place he used to work, and the other one was, I mean, kind of basically the same thing, because the guy with the dance studios, he had worked at the dance studios that he shot up. He had a relationship with both the places. And the other guy who shot up Half Moon Bay, he went to a former employer and just shot it up. But isn't that kind of weird, right? I mean, that's kind of fucking weird. We're not talking about, like, you know, the Michigan Wolverines or some weird, like, right-wing group. This is just 2 senior citizen Asian men who just both snapped at the same time.
Yeah, surely don't fit the general demographic of a mass shooter.
Or even if there is a big shooter, it's not always like, oh, 2 older white men. This is literally 2 senior citizen Asian males who both did these horrific crimes. I mean, let's call them for what they are. They're horrific. Yeah. They're horrible. But they both did that. Isn't that weird, right? Isn't that a weird?
It is, and it's not like we're trying to force the race issue onto this topic, but it is apparent, you know. There's
a stereotypical understanding of mass shooters. It's typically always a, you know, younger white male. I mean, let's be very honest. That's what it normally is. It's a younger white male, except for what happened in what's it called? My brain just blanked. That happened in South Texas, the shooting, the elementary school.
Right. Yeah.
That was a Latin American man. But
it's well, in their age too.
Yeah, they're young men, right? Young men
but these guys were older.
Yep.
You know,
yep. And it's kind of weird, right? I mean, isn't this a weird coincidence? Like, you're like I know I you know, there'll probably never be a what's it called, a connection made, but you almost kind of wonder if there was, right? Like almost like a pact or something, like a suicide pact or something. It just seems really weird, right? I don't know. That's been bugging me about this, but nonetheless, two massive shootings in California. Gavin Newsom is, of course, calling for some type of assault rifle bans, gun bans, bands that banned other bands. He may ban bands.
Right. Ban bands on bands.
But, you know, ban rubber bands. Ban. But in the end, you know, we have again another crazy, you know, some type of that was pretty fucking all right. That was good. We're keeping it professional here.
Of course, always.
We have all this going on. So once again, the gun topic's being brought up. You know, what's going to happen with that? I don't know. But it is something to kind of food for thought as we are rolling into a very, what could be a tumultuous 2023 with the economy, with everything happening, Russia, COVID, whatever is going to fucking happen. 2023, while we were all hoping, you know, and I know there's a couple of assholes out there like, this is going to be the year, things are going to get better. You know, maybe not. But nonetheless, just be ready for, unfortunately, just a lot's happened out there. I think a lot of stressed out folks. So just be nice to each other out there. Try not to honk your horn more than twice. And guess what? Do you really need to cut that person off in traffic? Probably not. Probably having a bad day.
Does it help you out that much? No.
But moving on to our final story, then we'll actually be touching a local tragedy that has occurred. There was some tornadoes be right over there. And
it was pretty bad, man. We had a couple days ago, and we didn't get any tornadoes up here in the Cypress area, but it was definitely some heavy, intense, and it was like a short, quick, like fucking intense ass fucking storm that came through. But yeah, unfortunately down there in the southeast part of the region, the Pasadena got tore up real bad, man. I don't know the casualty count but the damage was very, very, very severe. And unfortunately, once we get kind of accustomed to mass damage with these weather events, it's just a tough spot to be in, right? The Gulf Coast has some pretty rough weather from time to time. Plus we get the fucking tornadoes too. So that doesn't help out. But yeah, man, just from experience, fuck, I was actually off that day and I was trying to, I try to get as much shit done on my off days as I can. So I'm trying to run errands and dude, shit was fucking real. Like that wind, sideways ass rain, stores were closing down because of like tornado warnings and shit. Right. I was just innocently, like I said, trying to check some stuff off the list, like pick up some shampoo for the wife at Ulta, and they're like, no, my dumb ass is like, I don't give a fuck. Like, as long as it's not flooding, I'm gonna still drive. So I try to go up to the window and they're like, no, we're closed. You can't,
get out of here, you fucking
get out of here. And I'm like, God damn it. Now I got to go back. I had an umbrella, but still I was getting soaked. Cause like I said, the rain was,
you should have been like, but I'm all wet. I need to come in. I'm all wet.
I need to change into dry clothes, ladies. Let me in.
Are you wet? Cause I'm wet.
Let's everybody get wet together.
Open the doors and let the wetness come in.
Yeah. So that was about to happen, but they shooed me away, so I had to leave. But yeah, no,
because you were so wet.
And no, but normally, man, on my street, so my neighborhood was built like 08, 09 or whatever, and so they were pretty strategic about like the water flow and the. So we rarely have even.
Yeah, you never had flooding out.
No, dude, not even Harvey.
Not even the worst ones, right?
Not even Harvey.
Had that.
Yeah, the streets will have some water, but like it'll subside and go. So, yeah, when I was coming home from all that bullshit, getting shooed away at Ulta and running around for the day,
fucking Ulta.
Fuck, man, my streets were piled up. Like it went down because the rain eventually stopped and it dried out, but for a minute there, in other words, it was just a shitload of rain in a very short period of time. But yeah, God bless the people out there in Pasadena, because those tornadoes don't give a fuck, man. They do not. They hit what they hit, and it was some really bad news. So hopefully, the people out there can get recovered, but also too, we're. Once again, the people down here are pretty savvy because unfortunately, this shit happens pretty frequently. But beware of the contractors, man. Everybody's going to be coming in from all over neighboring states and everything, and trying to make a little money. So just be careful. If you sustain some damage, be smart about it. Don't go signing shit and all these promises about what they're going to do. Really kind of vet who you're taking business from, and just to understand it's going to be a long, slow process. I know the instinct is to just, and that's why they take advantage, because they know the emotion is severe and people want to get back to normal. So they're going to rush into things. So bam, man, it's a big money grab. So just be very careful. And not to say that there isn't obviously people who do great work but just understand that with these tragedies, you want to exercise a little caution because people are trying to get a little money. So careful.
Yep. And as a person who, unfortunately, and it's crazy. I still, to this day, I did not know this, but it's funny. It's been 32 years. As a person who has gone through a tornado, and particularly the worst tornado to ever hit Southeast Texas in the history of South Texas. My house was wiped out.
Hit your house specifically.
My house, no, it was crazy. It was wild, guys. I mean, basically the roof was picked up, thrown back down the house. My friend Jimmy across the street, good guy. Ben, we all know him. He literally, his family ran into the bathroom, opened the bathroom door, and they were outside. All the walls of the house have been stripped.
It's fucking crazy.
Craziness. So, despite that whole fact, yeah, the contractors are for real. You know, they'll come around. Oh, hey, and I cannot tell you how many people on my block had contractors that started the work, got paid, and dipped out.
Yep.
I mean, gone, left them in utter shambles. Not even like even the work they had done was shit. And guess what? They to this day, never got anything done. So yeah, be careful with them. Make sure that whoever you get has some type of referral. Make sure that even if there's people working on your house and their house, make sure stuff like that, because these guys unfortunately there's a lot of really bad ones, and the really good ones charge a lot. So that's that's kind of the part. It's like, oh, hey, I'll be honest if you let me rip you off. So you're kind of screwed either way. But yeah, just be real careful. But yeah, for anyone who lost anything major, just remember everything can be replaced. And just be happy that you got out of there alive. But that being said, I think we're gonna start slowly closing the door to this podcast. I think we've had a riveting, fruitful, perseverant type conversation here. A lot of pushing, a lot of moaning.
Productive.
We got there. Productive, yeah. Well, I mean, that's another way to say productive. Pushing, moaning.
Everybody wins. Everybody got theirs.
Oh yeah, they got it, and they got it good.
They did, man. They got it good. It was nice and wet.
Oh yeah. Well, that's why they didn't let you in. You were wet as could be, and no one wants to deal with the wetty bee.
A little too much. They didn't have the maintenance capabilities on hand to deal with what I was
dripping.
What I was going to start at that,
like a turbo vet
place. It was going to be, a force to be reckoned with, and they just didn't have the equipment.
Nope, they didn't
be able to negotiate that situation.
They were some square, dry ass people. They didn't want to deal with that big old wet boy.
They sure were. There's good Samaritans in the world, but unfortunately, none of them work at Ulta.
They do not. They do not work there.
Wouldn't let me
Ulta.
In.
Just they got to protect that powder, bro. Dry ass powder.
I could have pushed the issue, right? I could have put my face on the glass.
That would have been awesome.
I could have
put your ass on the glass.
I could have. Yeah, there was a multitude of possibilities I could have explored.
Oh my God.
That
you know how awesome it would have been had you put your wet ass on the glass and said, I gotta get in, and then you just shit on their window. I mean, that
might have been legendary status I would have achieved at that. I think so.
Could you imagine doing some wild shit like that? Like, oh my God.
And the only reason I would have been doing it was just to talk about it on the show.
I mean, the greatest thing I think that'd be the greatest thing ever done. Can you imagine the YouTubes of you? The YouTubes. God, I sound old. Can you imagine just the video clips of you just like shitting on a window? Just let me in.
Oh, because immediately all four of them or whatever would have just started filming. You know what I mean? Like that's a given. So that shit would have been. I
remember a tornado once a long time ago in another life when I used to manage a GameStop. Yes, this is what I did. Awesome. I remember one time there was a tornado. This is in Baytown, and a tornado had touched down across the freeway. I literally kicked people out of the store and locked the doors and told the people that were left, go to the restroom, and we all had to like hide. Yeah, man. Tornadoes are for real. Yeah, bad weather is for real. Ulta. New better.
Yeah, fuck them, man. I did. You know what?
Better.
I got
to go to Sephora.
I was yeah, really. I was managing a store where there's a tornado in the parking lot, and I had to lock the. Well, I didn't lock the doors, but like, I told people to chill. Like, hey, you're gonna have to stay here,
right?
And like people were like, well, like, and I was like, dude, I'm not a cop. Like, I can't physically restrain you, but I was like, yeah, go out there. What the fuck are you gonna do? Like, you're an idiot.
Awesome. Like, I got my groceries. They're gonna go bad.
Be my guest. But I told the whole crowd, because like everybody was waiting to leave, so they had to just wait there. Most people were patient. Yeah. But I told the whole crowd, I was like, hey, like everybody heard me, right? I told them that like I don't recommend going out there, right? Everybody said, and I literally waited for everybody to confirm so nobody could come back with some bullshit saying that like I did. So I said, all right. have at it, go out there. And then they go out there and immediately get like tossed on the ground by the fucking winds and rains. It's like, yeah, you fucking idiot.
They walk out there and they're just immediately like drawn and quartered. And
oh,
like,
dude,
like, and you're just like, told them not. I told them
there
not
was
to fucking go
bro,
out there.
there was like how bad to describe how bad the scene was. Like you could literally see the tornado like on the corner of the parking lot, like physically, like touching down like
Right.
that. So you're a fucking idiot. Part 2 was that there was shit from like the neighborhood, like stuff that was in people's backyards, like flying.
That's awesome.
You remember like in Twister where that cow's like flying, like it was shit. It was like soccer goals and whatever, dude, like mini trampolines and just shit like flying all over the skies. Like it was a total free fall, but like, yeah, go out your car.
Yeah, go for it. Go for
like,
your groceries.
Like drive home.
Yeah.
Drive home, because you definitely can't afford to wait 5 more minutes for this thing to pass. You can't. You have to get home in 5 fucking minutes.
Where their ice cream's gonna melt. That's what it was. They
I
probably
know.
had ice cream and they're like, oh fuck, I hate it when it's a little runny and then
Yeah.
it refreezes again and it just doesn't taste the same.
Yeah.
It doesn't taste the same.
People are fucking idiots.
Fucking
But
dipshits.
anyway.
But you know who's not idiots is our listeners. And we love you
That's right.
guys. You guys keep it real, represent. Where can they find us on the interwebs, the places
find
where
us,
people surf?
Yeah, they do surf, and you can find us. You can surf around that internet, if you will, and find us on the old app called Instagram at skip_the_noise_podcast. You can no longer find us on TikTok because I deleted that shit. It got a little too
a little too real.
I don't know, a little too much
Heat
spycraft on me. So I kind of believed the hype and I shut that shit down. So we're back to Instagram, but I assure you we'll entertain you. You can also hit us up at skipthenoisepodcast@gmail.com if you have any kind of specific things to
or anything you want us
address.
to deep dive, because we would love to just get a suggestion, something you guys want us to focus on. We can do it. We are learned men. We will find the truth for you.
We will tear up a topic or two. So if you got something we haven't heard about, that's the whole
raw dog that shit.
We'll raw dog that shit. We don't need no protection whatsoever.
None. We don't even care. We're gonna find the raw truth and we're gonna spill it all over you.
We sure are. And we're going to keep it wet. We're going to keep it interesting. And we're going to keep you entertained. So with that, have a great week. We will see you next week.
I'm going to spill the truth all over your face.
Dude. And I am going to appreciate every last drop.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the best.
That's right.
Appreciate it to the last drop.
Godspeed, everyone.
Night. Late.
Late.